Antara Capital, the hedge fund that really kicked off this entire arbitrage trade, is selling millions of APE stock every single week. And the latest transaction was last Friday when AMC actually fell quite a bit and they sold millions of stock that day. We're going to get into the latest changes in Antara Capital's position in AMC as well as in APE, because I think this shows a real lack of confidence heading into the next court date and when these proposals, whatever the judge wants to do, gets put up for questioning for that 60-day period at the bare minimum. So we're going to get into that. I think that is vitally important for all of you guys to see and watch and pay attention to, especially heading into the next court update that we do get on April 27th. I know a lot of people don't think we're going to get anything April 27th, but rest assured, we're going to hear from the courts on April 27th. The court date, I will repeat again, has not been canceled. Maybe a decision's been made, it has not been released yet, and there will be court, and you will get a reaction in AMC stock. And I think based off of what we're seeing here, it's likely to be a very bullish one. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here and you like AMC, you like making money, you want to grow your net worth, you want to reach financial freedom, any of those apply to you, hit that like button, turn on notifications, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, comment down below. Let me know your comments, questions, or concerns on any of this information, because I mean, I think, quite honestly, everyone involved in this trade needs to see this, especially the closer that we do get to getting more information from the courts. So, nonetheless, let's dive into it, guys. And first things first, what is Antara Capital doing? Now, they got a lot of shares. They had a lot of shares. At the peak, it looks like with Antara Capital and some of their subsidiaries, right, they owned, at the peak, 252 million shares of AMC preferred equity units. You could see this right here from Antara Capital. That was on February 17th. Now, ever since then, they have been selling massive amounts of stock. Right here on March 15th, not too long ago, about a month ago, they sold 48 million shares at $1.51. And then, on April 3rd, is when things really started to kick into high gear and they started to sell a lot of stock basically every day, every couple of days, at the bare minimum, every single week. So, the next following day, they sold 4.6 million shares of APE. The same day, there was two more transactions, selling about 750,000 shares and selling 2.5 million shares. And then the next day, on April 4th, they sold 2 million shares, then they sold 1 million shares, then they sold 3 million shares, 1 million shares, 2 million shares, 1 million shares, 50,000 shares, and that was all at just April 4th. April 5th comes around, they sold 1 million shares. Again on April 5th, they sold 8.3 thousand shares. And then this latest filing that they just gave us, they sold another almost 3 million APE shares, bringing their total to 158 million APE shares. Now, at the peak, again, they own 252 million shares. So let's go ahead and do some math on that. Now they own 158 million. So let me go ahead and retype that in. 158 million. I want to see the percent of their position that they have sold out since this arbitrage trade, I guess, became well known. They've sold about 62% of their entire position in the last month and a half. This does not show a lot of confidence in this trade. Now, what are they doing with AMC common stock? Because this is where things get very weird, and let's just call it that. And personally, I think Antara Capital is about to get smoked. So, and they really already have. We went over the options that they do have. We broke this down in another video. Go ahead and search up Antara Capital options, or I believe it's Antara Capital is getting smoked, and AMC, just type that in YouTube, pull up the video I made. It goes over the strikes that they actually have, and they're massively underwater on their positions. But what we see right here, Antara Capital on February 13th, granted, this was the last filing that we got for AMC. What they have done with APE was in March, was in April. This filing is from February, the last filing we got with AMC. So granted, it could be different now because, I mean, it's been a while since we got the latest 13F filing. That was back in February. A lot can change. But they had initiated a brand new position. That is why this is highlighted in green. And it says right here very clearly, it's a put controlling about 21 million shares of AMC, worth about 84, almost $85 million. Now, we've talked about this before, but in the grand scope of things, what has happened since February 13th? APE, really, and AMC. Mainly AMC. APE definitely seen better days, but AMC has been going higher ever since, I mean, that period of time. If you take a look back at when their filing was, on February 13th, AMC stock was trading lower than where it's trading at right now. It was trading at $4.58 per share. You're at $5.08 per share. So if you bought these puts, essentially, I mean, AMC just ripped right after that. Just went crazy to $8.50 per share. They got blown out on those. And then what happened? The stock came back down, but it rallied again. And a lot of those strikes that Antara Capital owns are April 21st expirations, this Friday, and April 28th, but really this Friday. If you take a look at where they are currently trading at, they bought a lot of $2 puts, and the $2 put has 235,000 contracts for open interest, which does explain what we're seeing in the filing and what we've reported before. And it looks like they still haven't closed out those positions. And I mean, how could you? They're worthless. They're literally worth nothing. You could buy these for $1, and nobody is willing to buy them, right? They also bought a lot of the $3 strikes, and that has 126,000 for open interest. Again, they are worthless. And the price in which Antara Capital bought most of these positions was in between $10 and $20 per contract. So they were expecting a lot of negativity, really, to hit AMC. They expected all hell to break loose in this stock, and they were shorting 84 million shares worth with those put options. And that, simply put, did not happen. It looks like Antara Capital is getting smoked on their AMC put positions, but as well as that, they have been selling stock. And why I think that is very indicative of kind of the next update that we get and where AMC is going from here, because if you were this confident in this trade to begin with Antara Capital, why would you reduce your positioning 62% since you had 250 million shares, 252 million shares in late February? Why would you do that if you thought this was a home run trade? It's obviously proven to not be. And when you're getting squeezed on, I mean, cost to borrow rates, because they obviously have short positions as well. Hedge funds, they don't have to disclose those necessarily, but they do have to disclose put and call positions, which I think just makes absolutely no sense. But that's just the way the system works. So from the data that we're getting right now, they're getting smoked, and they're really not the only ones. We shouldn't just only call them out. Millennial Capital Management as well, that is the second largest APE owner, also shorted AMC when AMC was at the lows, and they're also getting smoked. It's on a lot smaller of a scale, granted. If you go ahead and look at, type in Millennial Capital Management, they are shorting about 513,000 100,000 shares, and this filing came out February 14th. They also have a put position worth about 113,000 shares as well. Now, their put position, which is kind of crazy, they had increased that 175%. So they did have a put position on AMC as well in fourth quarter of 2022, and they continued with that position, adding to that by 175%. Again, AMC stock has rallied from those lows that you've seen during this time period. So it's not just Antara Capital that is getting smoked, it's likely all of these hedge funds, or a vast majority of them. But what you're seeing right now is not really indicative of all things are doom and gloom for AMC. That's not what you're seeing in the actual data, in the reported positioning from these hedge funds that quote unquote say this is a home run trade. Just 2 and 2 are not lining up. And still, we do have a lot of bearish positioning. If you take a look at the option activity here for AMC stock, we know it is very negative on a day-to-day basis, but specifically around April 28th, it was around 10% positive. Now it's like 23% positive, but it's still very, very negative compared to, I mean, a normal option expiration for AMC stock, and it's about 25% calls now, which again, the higher this goes, the, whoa, okay, never mind. I thought that was a crazy option trade that we just seen. But nonetheless, the higher this goes, the more uncertainty hedge funds have around AMC falling, the more likely AMC is to rally from here. And if you guys know what the data looks like with AMC, you should be very bullish at this moment in time. The live short interest of free float is at the highest level that you have seen in, I mean, forever. With this whole trade, it's at 26.17%, 135.13 million shares that are currently sold short, with cost to borrow rates in between 219% at the low end and about 364% at the high end. These cost to borrow rates only allow you to be in a short position for a couple of months before you have to close out, before you're severely negative. And that is if you're trading this arbitrage trade and AMC and APE do converge. You only have a couple months to be in that position. You have to hedge out, you have to roll over, you have to cover, you have to do something, or you start to get smoked in a pretty big way on those positions. So when I sit here and I add these things up, I say, why isn't Antara Capital selling their APE position? Why are they getting smoked on their put position on AMC? And this is all public data. Like we know for a fact they're getting smoked. Like their put position is literally worth $0 right now on AMC as per the latest pricing on AMC options for that April 21st and April 28th option expiration. Again, if you guys want to see Antara Capital's literal positioning we went over, type into YouTube. Do AMC Antara Capital is getting smoked. We literally went over it. And even then, the options had a face value of like $5 or $6 a piece. Now they're at 0. So why isn't Antara Capital selling APE? Why are they getting smoked on their put positioning? Huh. That's interesting. Why is that happening? Well, likely because you're going to get a bullish reaction in AMC stock fairly shortly. And granted, you are now in Q2. So even if Antara Capital did buy a bunch of AMC, they did hedge out their positioning, they bought a bunch of calls on AMC, that would be great information to know. And it's likely happened if their risk management department sees what is coming, which I'm sure they do. Unfortunately, we won't get reported on that for quite a while. Unless Antara Capital wanted to publish that report earlier, I highly doubt they do, though. So, long story short, I think when you add up the data here, you add up the institutional moves with Antara Capital, Millennial Management, the largest owners of APE and AMC, pretty clear to see there's about to be a bullish reaction, and likely in a massive way. That is why I'm bullish on AMC. That's why I'm long on AMC, and will continue to be long on AMC. And when I do see that trade come about, I will make that trade. and I will go for the damn prize, baby. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comment, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. If you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video. Earnings season is the best season where there's ample opportunity. Thank you for watching again. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.